just walking down to Coton Manor Garden today. So this is somewhere that I passed when we did the walk around the reservoir. And it's a beautiful sunny day, although it was raining earlier, but I thought this would be the day to go and have a look at it. So it's an old manor house with a beautiful garden. And I used to go there a lot as a kid because it's only the next village over from where I grew up. But I haven't been there for years and years. And the only things I really remember is they used to have big macaws, so big parrots. They used to have a red one and a blue one on the gate as you came through. And I distinctly remember that they used to have flamingos. Now, I don't know if they still do have flamingos. It was many years ago. So I'm quite excited to go and see what they've still got. So yeah, let's get over there and just hope that it doesn't start raining before we arrive. I remember this part. Ever since I was a child, they had hydrangeas outside. I remember them being blue. Found some blue ones tucked away in the shade. Noticed a cute little hobbit hole here. How Tolkien does that look? Coton Manor has been in the same family for almost 100 years, and a manor house has stood on this spot since medieval times, though the original house was flattened during the English Civil War and then rebuilt. It cost me £10 to get in, and you get a lovely little map that charts all of the different parts of the garden. On the back, it tells you the different seasons to visit, such as snowdrop season and wildflower season. We're starting off on the terrace. I've mentioned before that benches in the countryside are often dedicated to people. That's true in Coton Manor as well. This one is in memory of Harold and Elizabeth Bryant, upon whose inspiration this garden was created in 1925. And the one next to it is in memory of Henry and Haroldine Paisley Tyler, who devoted themselves to this garden 1950 to 1990. I'm always curious about bench dedications and who the people were. Now we're moving to the Old Rose Garden. Coton Manor also runs a gardening school, and I believe those are the classrooms straight ahead. The variety of flowers is absolutely amazing. Let me know which one is your favourite below. This leads into the woodland garden. This sculpture is really fascinating. It looks like it's glowing from inside. At first, I thought there was a lamp in there, but it's just the light reflecting off what I think is gold leaf. It's kind of mesmerising. I also found this statue of Pan, the Greek god of wild places. It felt a little like stepping into Narnia. The woodland garden continues with the little path that leads to an unexpected destination. From Narnia to Spirited Away. Mum? Dad? Is that you? You don't have any food. You don't. I'm sorry. It's time to pass through the fairy tunnel and into the water garden. This plant here is giant rhubarb. Unlike its diminutive cousin, it isn't edible. In fact, it's actually poisonous, but it looks very impressive. This is so beautiful. It's exactly as I remember it. In my mind, I always associate it with bluebells because I've got a beautiful bluebell forest, but we're a bit late in the season to see those. They also have a snowdrop season, all of these different times of year when you can visit and see different flowers in bloom. It's really lovely being back here. My friend Harry, she used to live in the same village as me, and she used to buy a season pass. So I think that if you live locally, you can actually buy a season pass and come as many times as you like throughout the summer. I'll see if I can find the information for that and leave it below. But it's really pretty. The only sad thing is that the lady, as I was coming through to pay, she said that the parrots unfortunately passed away many years ago. So they don't have the parrots, but we might still have a slight Alice in Wonderland moment. Let's go and see if we can find some flamingos. Nope, no flamingos on the lake. Let's go back through the water garden. Let's see if there are any flamingos down here. No flamingos under there. What about over here? This is a beautiful little path with nobody on it. Aha! I think I found something. Hello, chickadees. You're going to be very disappointed when you realise I haven't got any food at all. It's going to be like the pigs all over again. I'm not a worthy house guest. We used to have chickens like you when I was a girl. I wonder what's at the top. This really is quite incredible. I don't remember there being so much water here, so many little pools and streams and ponds. Listening to it trickle through the garden is really relaxing. Let's see what's at the top of this one. Just a little hole into a parallel dimension. Time to head back down and continue the search for flamingos. I just caught a glimpse of something through the giant rhubarb. Hold your breath. I think we've found the flamingos. That looks like a flamingo to me. African flamingos in the middle of England. How on earth do they cope with the weather? There used to be a path down here that went into those trees, and that's where the bluebell wood used to be. I don't know. Oh yeah, there's a path. It looks like it's all fenced off. No, hold on a minute. I almost missed that. I almost walked straight back up to the house. Yeah, so this is a Wildfield Meadows. Let's see, there we go. On a latch gate. Make sure we close that properly. There we go. So this used to be wildflowers, so I can't see many wildflowers at the moment. And then you go this way into the woods. And when the bluebells are out, this is absolutely covered in beautiful blue. Just a little notice here. Please do not pick the bluebells. There are none. Oh, what a wonderful woodland though. Kigali, Ravensthorpe, Coton Manor. Why is it that wherever I go, I find myself in the forest? This is absolutely lovely. I've come wandering through the bluebell woods, but there are no bluebells, so there are also no people. It's really lovely. I'm so surprised actually that there are so many people here today, because it's a weekday. And I just kind of assumed that, you know, people would be at work or they'd be doing things. But there are a lot of people here, and it's really, really good to see, because if there are people, then it maintains the gardens and it stays open. So it's really, really good to see. Not too sure about the flamingos. They're nice, they're nice. I was standing there with another lady and we were trying to take photographs. But the flamingos didn't really pose for the camera this time. There were two that were very, very bright pink. So I don't know if they're kind of like the mama and papa, or if they're bright pink, that means they're male, and if they're light pink, they're not, or if it's just down to what they're eating, I don't know. But there were two really, really pink ones, but they kind of kept their heads down and they were preening themselves. And then we found four light pink ones, almost white, over in the pool, and they were all fast asleep. So wrong time of day to see the flamingos, I think. But yeah, it's really cool that they're still here. A little bit of weird British whimsy, because usually you only find them in, I think, is it South Africa, I want to say? It is in Africa that they generally live. So yeah, a bit far from home. But yeah, it's really lovely. It's as I remember it. And I'm really enjoying just sitting here on my own for a minute and contemplating the tea and cake that I'm about to go and get, because my tummy's starting to rumble. So I'm looking forward to tea and cake. So there's a very specific kind of smell to English forests, I find, that you definitely don't get in Rwanda. And I think it's because, you know, we have seasons in a different way here. So in Rwanda, it's wet or it's dry, whereas here it's hot or it's cold. And when winter comes, everything dies off and you get a lot of mulch in the earth, and a lot of the wood is kind of decomposing and rotting throughout the year because there's quite a lot of humidity. So even when it's warm, when it's sort of summer, you still have a lot of damp in the earth. So you have a lot of leaves and a lot of branches kind of decomposing into the soil. So even though it's summer, you can smell a kind of, it's sort of a damp kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's a smell that British forests, English countryside has. Like growing up, I always used to love autumn. Autumn was one of my favourite times of the year. But then, you know, I left and I was living in Rwanda, and for about 5 years I didn't come back to the UK. And so I hadn't smelt that smell in 5 years. And then when I came back to the UK in autumn, I had this really strange reaction because I didn't enjoy the smell anymore. Whereas growing up, I loved it because, you know, it was just the smell of autumn. But when you had been somewhere that you didn't have decomposition in the same way, it kind of really hit me, and I smelt it, and it smelt a bit of decay. And it's not a bad smell, it's a nice smell, it's a pleasant smell, but I don't know, I just never really noticed it before in the way that I did then. I'm getting better with it again now. I like the smell again, but I think it was just, I don't know, a smell that I'd had all my life growing up and then hadn't smelt for years. And so of course, I don't know, it changed the way that I thought about it when I smelt it again. Like I hadn't noticed it, and then I really noticed it, and now I kind of notice it again. But it's a very distinctly British forest smell. Because I think even though, you know, plants, they grow and they die when it's wet and it's dry in Rwanda, you don't have things lying around for long periods of time and decomposing over a long time, like over years. So you don't get that kind of same mulchy earth. And yeah, I guess it's also a lot drier most of the time. So even though things decompose, you don't get that same smell. I don't know. It's weird. So yeah, you can see here the sort of the decomposition of the earth is, even though it's summer, you've still got all of these leaves still decaying and little bits of wood that are rotting away, and it all kind of creates this sort of damp smell. Very earthy. Right, so back to civilization and tea and cake. Oh, these smell like Turkish delight. There are so many aspects to this garden. You're never too sure if you've seen everything. There's something new around every corner. This leads to the herb garden. Coton Manor also has an extensive nursery where you can buy almost any plant you can imagine. This is bergamot, which is used for flavouring Earl Grey tea, dainty nigella, and my favourite garden flower, the snapdragon. So named because their petals snap open and shut like they're talking. Hello, I'm a snapdragon. I've tried to grow them in Rwanda, but with no joy. Right, enough dilly-dallying. Time for the most important part of the day, cake. The menu looked amazing, and I was definitely feeling peckish.
I rather fancied the homemade quiche and possibly the warm chocolate brownie for pudding. Only when I got to the counter, they told me that the kitchen stopped serving at 2:30 and it was now 2:45. I was pretty gutted, but they did manage to rustle me up a sausage roll and a very yummy flapjack. If you're in the UK, Fentimans makes really good lemonade, both traditional and rose flavoured. And I managed to pick up a tub of mint choc chip, which was my favourite ice cream as a kid. I haven't had it in years. It's mint ice cream with chunky chips of chocolate in it. They have a really nice courtyard to eat in. I think it's a converted stable yard. I also took a quick peek inside the shop, which was filled with apple juice and preserves made with ingredients from the garden. There were also a few gardening tools. In an adjoining room was information about plants that are good for bees and the different types of wildlife you can find in the garden.
So I'm just walking home now. That was an absolutely lovely afternoon. The food was good. That flapjack was so chewy, it made my jaw ache. It was fantastic. And it was just really nice because Coton Manor is one of those places that doesn't really change much. It still looks the same now as it did when I was a teenager. So it's kind of reassuring to come back and see that. I'm just walking back home now and I've stopped opposite this footpath sign. So in the UK, you'll see loads of little footpath signs around the countryside. And wherever you see them, that means that it's a public right of way. So you can follow the path. So even though it's going out across this field, you have a right to walk through that field and follow the path. The only thing is, it doesn't tend to say on them where the path actually goes. So in my curiosity, I really want to follow that path, but my logical brain is kicking in and saying, don't do that because you don't actually know where you're going to end up. And also my bag is kind of heavy because I picked up a couple of things. So I got some homemade Coton Manor Seville orange marmalade and a jar of apple chutney. So I think Mum America are going to enjoy those. I kind of had to rein myself in a bit because they've got this amazing nursery and I saw some flowers there that I thought my mum would love, but I'm walking, so I would have had to carry them all the way back home and I'm not sure that my arms are strong enough. So anyway, I'm really glad that we went today. I've had a lovely afternoon. I had mint choc chip ice cream, which I haven't had in years. So all good, and I shall see you in the next video.